So, very good morning to all my dear students. I welcome you all into the Industrial Pharmacy First. Dear student, today our topic of discussion that is onto the pharmaceutical aerosols. The new chapter, the new topic belonging to the Industrial Pharmacy First as per the syllabus prescribed by the Pharmacy Council of India. Now, as far as the aerosols are concerned, the learning outcome of this today's lecture, that is the basic principles of the aerosols, the advantages, disadvantages of the aerosols, and the uses of the aerosols. So we have to discuss onto these particular topic. Now, in order to understand all these topic, our lecture plan that will move through the aerosol, what they are, what is their meaning, what is their definition, what will be the advantages and disadvantages of the aerosols, what will be its limitations, and what are the different uses of the aerosols. Now, before directly going through the slides associated with today's lecture, I just want to give some examples of the aerosols. Now, as far as the aerosol is concerned, it is not something new, right? The term you might have listened before this also, you may be, you may not be, but as far as this particular product is concerned, this is not new to we people. It is the part of our daily routine life, right? So can you please give me a few examples of the aerosols that you knows? Yes, anyone? Okay, very correct. So generally we are using the body sprays, the deodorant sprays, isn't it? Now that deodorant spray, that is the example of the aerosol itself, right? We know the perfume sprays. Now these perfume sprays, again, these are the examples of the aerosols. Nowadays, in the COVID-19 pandemic era, we are using the sanitizers, isn't it? The sanitizer in the form of spray sanitizers, right? So again, that spray sanitizer is nothing but the example of the aerosols, right? So just what I want to tell you is that this is the routine in our life as far as the aerosols are concerned. These are not something new. But as far as the terminology is concerned, in pharmaceutical field, we are calling to all these as the aerosols. So that is what is the thing toward which I want to draw your attention. So again, you can see in order to remove the insects, cockroach, ants, we are using the spray in our kitchen. So that is the mosquito spray, that is the cockroach spray, that is the repellent spray, isn't it? Whenever there is any kind of pain, in case of sports, like say now there is a season of IPL, right? Most of the player they used to play, and suppose if they hit by ball, or if they slip, or if they fall down, there might be some injury. That injury might be internal injury, right? So which will lead to that of the pain. Now in that case, you might have seen that the players, they used to carry to the affected person toward the coach or toward the medical help provider, and they used to take out some container and they used to spray it onto the affected part, right? So that is the quick relieving sprays. These are the analgesic quick relief producing sprays. So again, I told you already the example of the deo spray and the perfume spray. So these are from our pharmaceutical field, but there is an existence of the aerosol in case of nature itself. The fine droplets of the water that will lead to the production of a quite stable liquid aerosol, which is known in the form of the rainbow, right? So this is the example from the nature. Another example, if we go through the irrigation system, there is a sprinkler system, irrigation fountain. So that is the example of the coarse unstable liquid aerosols, right? So just the aerosol, these are not the pharmaceutical aerosols, but these are the routine part of our life, right? Now, to which particularly we used to call the pharmaceutical aerosols, or what are these pharmaceutical aerosols? These are being used, and we are using all these since decades. For what purpose? For the therapeutic purposes. Globally, these are going to be used. And there are different examples of these pharmaceutical aerosols. These are in the form of the pressurized metered dose inhalers. Like say these are known as MDIs. Then there is a dry powder inhalers where there is no presence of liquid, but there is a presence of powdered material, and that powdered material is allowed to spray in the form of the aerosol, which is known as DPIs, that is the dry powder inhalers. Then there is a nebulizers, that is in order to introduce the medicament into the nasal cavity. There is a skin sprays, there is a painkiller sprays, right? And if we see, there is an ever increasing incidences of the asthma globally. So that is increasing the demand of the aerosols. These types of dosage form that are very, very popular in case of treatment of the asthmatic conditions. If we want to define the aerosol, before directly going to the definition, we must understand what is its meaning. Its meaning, or the term aerosol, AERO, aero, SOLS, sols, aerosols, aero that refers to that of the air, sol that refers to that of the solution. So that means these are such a kind of dosage form which will contain solution along with that of the air. Now, what that particular air is, what is its form, in what particular way, what is its composition, that we will going to see in the subsequent lectures. But here, we just have to understand that. But the traditional meaning of air should not be considered, should not be taken here, right? That is important to understand. This is the dosage form which is said to be, which is known as the pressurized package dosage form. Now, if we want to define the aerosols, these are what? These are the suspension of small solid particles or droplets suspended in a gas or a vapor. So that is the definition. Another definition is that aerosols are the products that depend on the power of a compressed or liquefied gas to expel the contents from the container. Now you might have understood that this air refers to this particular either compressed gas or the liquefied gas. As far as the pharmaceutical aerosols are concerned, there is a typical definition. So we can define it as pharmaceutical aerosols. These are the products that are packaged under pressure and contain therapeutically active ingredients that are released upon activation of an appropriate valve system. So this is the definition for the pharmaceutical aerosol. And when you are writing the definition of pharmaceutical aerosol, you must concentrate onto these three terms. What it is? It is the packaged pressurized dosage form. It will contain the therapeutically active ingredients, and these are going to be released as a result of activation of the appropriate valve system. So there is a valve system, there is a spray system, there is a delivery system. Now these aerosols, these are intended for various purposes. These are intended for the topical application to that of the skin in order to give local relief from the pain, or for some another, or say like delivery of a therapeutic ingredient. These are used locally, locally into that of the various body cavities like say the nose, mouth, and the lungs. If these are introduced into the nose, these are said to be the nasal aerosols. If these are introduced into the mouth, these are said to be the lingual or oral aerosols. And if the content is delivered into the lungs, so these are said to be the inhalation aerosols. Now these products, they may be fitted with wall. So wall, that is most important. These products that are fitted with the wall, enabling either continuous or metered dose delivery, right? So that means what, if you are just pressing this wall, there is a continuous stream which is coming out. That is the continuous spray. And if you are pressing the wall, a fixed dose that will comes out, and then it will stops automatically. So such devices or the such delivery systems are said to be the metered dose aerosol delivery system. Hence the term, that is the drug metered topical aerosols or the drug metered nasal aerosols. These are going to be very widely used for examples, and these are official in case of the USP. So that is the official USP definition. Now, in order to understand, in order to learn the definition, you should understand that the aerosol, what they will contain, the active drug that is either dissolved or suspended or emulsified into what? Into the propellant. So propellant is what? Propellant is either a compressed gas or it is the liquefied gas, right? So it is then released, or this propellant that is responsible for releasing the drug in the form of the mist or in the form of the spray. That means it is delivered in the form of the fine droplet form. And this is to be introduced, or this is for what purpose? This is for its application where topically, nasally, orally, pulmonary, and into the other body cavities. For what? For giving the local or systemic effect. Which effect? The therapeutic effect or the therapeutic uses. So, what will be the advantages of the aerosols? We just enumerate, we just enlist all these advantages in the form of easy administration, portable, minimum dose required, minimum adverse effect, direct delivery of the drug to the target area, and the better spreading due to spray mist type of delivery. As far as the easy administration is concerned, we need not require the technician as it is needed in case of the parenteral dosage forms, right? Hardly just once or twice administration that will makes the person uh, expert in the delivery, in the administration of the dosage, administration of the medicament by using the aerosol system. So it is portable. There is a small container which can be carried, which is light in weight. Minimum dose is required, right? Because say the dose which is delivered by these aerosols, if it is the metered dose, we can go for regulation of the dose in the form of adjustment of the valve systems. Minimum side effect, the drug that will directly goes into the systemic circulation, and since the dose is very minimum, very small, so that may not be responsible, or that may not give any kind of side effects, adverse effects, and the toxic effects. Direct delivery of drug to the target area, whether it may be nasal cavity, whether it may be oral cavity, whether it may be lungs, right? Whether it may be skin, or whether it may be another body cavities. There is a specific delivery of the drugs to the targeted area. So, which will makes the product that is safer, right? Because the small amount of drug is required, as the area which is to be covered, that is very very specific, very very small, and there is a direct delivery to that of the affected or the area where the action is required. Better spreading due to spray mist type of delivery. The drug or the medicament that is going to be delivered, that is going to be made available in the form of the mist, in the form of the spray, in the form of the fine droplet form. So as a result of which there is a larger surface area. So that will going to be covering. So there is a better spreading because of the aerosol systems. There is a quick onset of action. As soon as the drug that is given to that of the affected part, and if it is given into the mucous membrane, which are highly innervated with that of the blood vessels, from there they will get entry into the systemic circulation. So that will leads to the producing the quick onset of action. Lower irritation as compared to the topical application of the drug, right? See, the irritation that is very very small in case of the aerosol compared to that of the topical application, because the topical application that will require the rubbing, right? There is a liniment, so liniment that will require the friction, that will require the rubbing of the skin, so that will leads to the irritating the skin. But as the aerosol, these are going to be sprayed, so there is no irritation associated with the topical application, like say the uh, suspension, yes, external suspensions or emulsions or the liniments, etc. Dose to dose maintenance of the sterility. In case of say oral suspensions or say suspensions and the emulsions which are to be applied, there is chances that we are taking out the dose from the container and we are keeping it open for a some period of time, or during this process of taking out and closing of the openings of the container, that will lead to the chances that there is a entry of microorganisms, so which will lead to that of the contamination of the product. Then the sterility that cannot be maintained, this contamination by that of the microorganisms. So that is not the case in case of the aerosol system, because these are the tamper proof. The product, the medicament, the therapeutic ingredient, these are closely packed and these are not opened directly. During the process of spraying, the small amount that will comes out, and there is no contact between the reservoir or the inside content with that of the outside atmosphere, or there is no entry of the any kind of the contamination product or the contaminating microorganisms. Better protection for oxygen and moisture sensitive drugs, because it is closely packed. So as it is closely packed, it will not come in contact with that of the air, so that will not lead to the process of oxidation. It will not coming in contact with that of the moisture, so it will not undergo the process of the hydrolysis. Avoid the first pass metabolism, because the drug that is absorbed directly systematically into the bloodstream, so as a result of which there is no first pass hepatic metabolism in case of the aerosol products. There are limitations that these are not cost effective, isn't it? If you just see the product like say the diclofenac sodium tablet and the diclofenac aerosol system, right, which is available in the form of mo, correct? So if you just see that for a 10 number of tablet, for a strip of 10 tablet of the diclofenac, hardly we have to pay either 10 to 15 rupees. But in order to purchase a particular analgesic spray, and that too into very very small pack size, we have to pay at least 100 of rupees or 80 to 100 rupees, right? So that's why it is said that it is not cost effective. Proper use is needed in order to get the effect, and that is prone to the incorrect use. See, this is most important one, because this is I want to discuss with you my personal own experience. Once I had the some nasal sinus problem. At that time, the physician had advised me the nasal spray. So I had used as usually just by placing it into the nostril and then just pressing it. After 1 or 2 years, I had gone through the literature, the leaflet which is available with that. Then I came to know that we have to inhale it when we are pressing it, right? So with the help of inhalation, the drug that will goes into the lungs and there it will produce its effect, right? So see why this is important, because say this is what which is said to be the proper use is required, right? Just we cannot go for spraying it as we are using or as we are doing with that of the body sprays or the perfume sprays, right? Whenever these are the therapeutic or the medicinal sprays, there is a proper direction and according to that they has to be used. There are limited safety hazards because the propellant which is going to be used, that is highly flammable, which is pressurized one, and that will leads to the inadvertent inhalations will causing the several types of side effects. Sometimes there is a need to use the ancillary devices like say the chambers and the spacers, or sometime in case of the meter dose inhalers we have to go for additional purchase of the metering devices, chambers and the spacers, right? Or say if these are going to be applied into the body cavities, some applicators are needed to be purchased. So all these are the limitations associated with the use of the aerosol system. Uses of pharmaceutical aerosols, the major use that is in case of the various kinds of the lung disorder, that is said to be the COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders, where these are going to be used in the form of the DPI, that is the dry powder inhaler, or the MDI, that is the metered dose inhalers. And these are going to be used by topical, nasal, ocular, oral, rectal and vaginal routes. So here you can see the example of the oral or the lingual aerosol, and this is having the several advantages, like say it has easy access to hard to reach to that of the sites. Let's say for example in case of the toothache, right? If it is very difficult to locate or to use any another kind of dosage form, so in that case some aerosol that will remain of the choice. You just have to spray it at the site with the help of applicator or with the help of a particular long tube, so which is very difficult to access. Easy access to the systemic circulation, because the oral cavity that is highly innervated, there is a direct entry into that of this systemic circulation. The drug that will avoiding the first pass metabolism. The various drugs like say the anti-anginal nitroglycerin that is to be given in case of the emergency conditions. Then the local anesthetics like say lidocaine for dental procedures, for dental use, these are going to be used. The antacids like say aluminum and the magnesium silicate, these are used in the form of the aerosol. Antiseptic like say the chloroseptic. So this is as far as the oral or the lingual aerosols are concerned. There are topical aerosols. The topical aerosol, these are externally applied onto the body cavity, and these are convenient as compared to the application. There is no need to touch the skin. We just have to spray the actuator and the drug that is sprayed over onto that of the skin. Unused product that is not contaminated, right? Because it is closely packed. The spray on bandages, even in case of the wounds, if there are bandages and if there are deep pain, then we can go for spraying it onto bandage itself without removing it. The miconazole that can be given in the form of the antifungal spray, neomycin as an antibacterial spray. It is used for the process of wound washing. It is used as a rubefacient like say the methyl salicylate, and the dexamethasone which is given in the form of the anti-inflammatory steroid. For local anesthetic, the benzocaine that is also used. There is a vaginal spray because the vaginal area that is difficult to access. So with the help of the aerosols and a long uh, applicator device, it became very easy to access the hardly accessible areas, and the content or the drug or the medicament that upon getting entry it will expand to fill the available space which is closely in contact. Then it will provide the complete coverage. And here the example is of the contraceptive form, the nonoxynol 9, that is to be given in the form of the vaginal contraceptive spray. And compared to that of vaginal spray, there is a rectal spray. Again, these rectal aerosols, they will be having the advantages like say these are easy to access, they will expand to fill the available space, they will provide complete surface area, surface coverage, and the agent or the drug which are to be delivered by this particular route, that is the hydrocortisone, anti-inflammatory steroid, or sometime the local anesthetic like say the pramoxine. There are nasal aerosols. These are going to be introduced into the nasal cavity because they will makes the area easily accessible because of the long applicator device. There is a minimal dripping. Why there is a minimal dripping? Because in case of the nasal drops, if we are adding the drops, because of the gravitational force, the drop that may come out, or we just have to remain lie down in a position for few minutes. But that is not associated in case of the aerosols, because once we are spraying it, the whether it may be powdered or metered or liquid aerosol system, if it is the liquid aerosol, even in that case, as the liquid that is going to be sprayed in the form of the fine mist and the spray, so it will just cover the surface, inner surface area of the nasal cavity, and that do not require the complete lying down or just to holding the nose into the uh, or we just can stand into the our standing position, and there is no dripping out of the liquid as a result of due to the gravitational force. So the drugs which are to be given by this route are the phenylephrine, that is the decongestant for its effect. Then there is a cromolyn sodium as an anti-allergic. There is a beclomethasone as an anti-inflammatory steroid. The nicotine can be given in order to produce its anti-smoking effect. The normal saline that can be introduced as a moisturizers, and the desmopressin. So it is to be given for the systemic access of the antidiuretic. There are ocular aerosols. So ocular aerosols, these are to be used in case of the eyes, but the care has to be taken that these are not directly applied to the eyes, but these are going to be used in order to clean, in order to wash the contact lenses. So the contact lens cleaning solution that can be available in the form of the ocular aerosol, like say the Optrex. So again, the advantages are the easy access and the minimal dripping. There are respiratory sprays, so they will produce the local as well as systemic action which is required to be obtained. The beclomethasone, it is to be given as an anti-inflammatory steroid. The cromolyn sodium as anti-allergic. The antivirals like say the ribavirin, bronchodilators in the form of albuterol, and ergotamine tartrate in the treatment of the migraine. And last but not the least, again, the nicotine that is to be given as a respiratory aerosol in order to stop the, or in order to prevent, or in order to cease the habit of smoking.